Hi, welcome everybody. Welcome to the Growth Girl series, where we bring together esteemed professionals to talk about various aspects of growth. Today with us, we have Despina Christou. She is a co-founder at GoCharlie, an AI-powered marketing tool, and she's the chief AI scientist at GoCharlie. Welcome, Despina.
Hi, Effie. Thank you very much for the introduction.
So, Despina, what is a chief AI scientist at a startup, at a marketing AI-powered marketing tool? What do you do there?
Okay, so you hear like AI. So AI in marketing tools, like the first things that you have in mind is that is the person that builds the AI behind what you use in the tool. So that's exactly my role as well. I do the whole research of what's the best tools out there, what's the new research, how we can incorporate that in our tool to offer the best marketing copy and content in general for the marketing and users. So it's like from simple things like doing the research, technical wise, studying the competitors, seeing how all these can work together, what affects us, what doesn't, incorporate those, like do from prototypes to production ready systems, deploy that on scale. Usually we use like services from a cloud, and that's like a continuous loop. It keeps going and going.
Right. So how did you get involved in this space? How does work as an AI scientist? I mean, there are no AI studies right now, right? I don't know. Yeah.
So I was doing a reflection the previous week and trying to think how I came where I am now. And I think it all came naturally. Like as a person, like from child, I loved observation, searching for patterns, math and progress in general. And before the trendy like keyword of AI, it was like statistics, then it was like machine learning and pattern recognition, and then AI. So as a person that loves to observe for patterns, like as a child, I think my first content was when I generated something, when I generated music following patterns, when I studied like music back then. So there was no...
Tell us a little bit about this part. You generated music with patterns. What do you
mean? Like I was studying music, especially classic harmony and music synthesis, and it was no AI back then. But the way you do all this classic music is through patterns. You follow patterns. So it's exactly the same procedure, but not in a mathematical way. You do the counts.
Right.
You can see the patterns. So there's no AI in the mathematical strict format, but there's generation. So for me, it was the very first like contact with something that you use patterns to generate something.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That was the first like thing that I like that. I like that I can use this pattern, slightly change them and compose something. And growing a bit, I pursued a bachelor in applied informatics, precisely because I love progress. And I believe like working with computers, as my mother would say, is the future.
Yeah.
That was my only criteria back then. I wanted to work something that has to do with progress. I had, nothing else, just that.
Yeah.
And during my bachelor, I got a bit confused with all these domains of computers. So what should I follow? What should I do? And I think the answer came in the last year of my bachelor. Then the machine learning started to emerge. And it was about 2012 or 13. And I saw that this is what I want to do. It combines everything I do or I have done or I love to do. It has patterns. It can be applied to any domain. Like as a child, you don't know exactly what you want to do. But if you study something that can be applied across plenty of domains, that's a relief. at least for me, was a great relief back then. So that was when I decided to get involved with AI, and I took more serious steps. I spent a whole year researching the field and doing my thesis, like while I was traveling the world and visiting like great universities. So when I finished my bachelor, I followed the master's in AI in the University of Edinburgh. Like there I deepened my knowledge in AI and precisely in text generation. That is my main focus also at what we are doing at GoCharlie right now. And after that, I've been working as a machine learning scientist and engineer for about 8 years now. I had the chance to work, of course, like in plenty environments, like national ones. I'm based in Greece, global ones, small teams, bigger teams, diverse teams. And from a technical perspective, I had the chance to work with almost all modalities, like text, images, video, time series, mixed type of data on several domains, like from marketing, customer support data, literature, biomedicine, retail. So with that experience, I realized that my passion is primarily in text. Mm-hmm. That's why I also pursued a PhD 4 years ago in natural language processing. Like things in AI change like every other day, I would say.
Yeah.
the last months. So I think it's important to always give efforts to excel your skills and be in research. Mm-hmm. Aside of what you're doing in the business, know the current research is crucial if you want to do something innovative. My research there focuses on how to improve and investigate deep learning models under the peculiarities of creative writing, because it's different than something which is very strict format, with the perfect grammar and the perfect syntax that we see in news, for example, in magazines, etc. So I studied these techniques, how we analyze and how we generate fiction stories. And I had also the chance to
so how do you do that then? How do you make artificial intelligence produce something that has let's say an artistic flair to it, like a creative flair to it? How do you do it? For me, it sounds like, I don't know, it sounds crazy, a bit crazy, to be honest. How can one, because the other part, for me, I can understand. You feed data to the machine, let's say, and then, it generates, it combines all the data. Anyways, I'm making it sound easier than it is, of course, but, it combines the data and it produces a final result. But how do you make a machine produce something that is creative, that is inspiring, that it... What is the basis of this? Of course, I don't expect to, in 5 minutes, to describe the whole thing, but...
that was what inspired me as well. Like how you do that's something different. And like the big novelists are unique. How you can replicate that with AI? So the answer is that there's applications and applications to AI. If you want like a general scope AI, like the ones we hear out there, they are general scope. Is like high level is just what you described. You've had a lot of data and you are able to generate general scope language. The tricky thing with creative writing or like generating images in a more creative fashion, they are specific. For example, we are able to understand that this book was written by Tolstoy, that painting is from Dali, for example. So you have to somehow define these unique characteristics of the author, the painter, into the model.
And is this the job, like defining the characteristics? Do you work with other scientists, like linguists, or in this case, I would also imagine like art historians, or...
Exactly. For example, part of my research in the first years of my PhD was I was studying literature. What are the main formats and types? How you develop a story? How you write that story? Like,
Yeah.
It's not the common. For example, even for blogs, if you see how ChatGPT or the other in general scope AI, how it writes long form content is good but not perfect, especially when it comes to long story, because the long stories, you need to first set a plot, to set the characters, define the characters, and then you compose the whole history and text around some basic outline.
Yeah, and I have to
Literature
say,
is, the plot, the characters, the places, for example.
so I guess you apply all of these because to GoCharlie, because in my experience, because it's a tool I personally use like I don't know, every single day almost. And I will use it for this podcast as well, because what I do is I take the videos from the podcasts and upload them to GoCharlie, and it creates like a summary, a blog post out of it, so I can upload it to the website. And it does an amazing job, because I don't know if I'm connecting now what you're saying. Perhaps it's related, or most probably is related, since you are the AI scientist behind it. What is different with GoCharlie is that I've noticed that it really creates something that the reader wants to read. It's not mechanical. It starts with an intro. It really summarizes very well. Because in my experience, of course, I've used many similar tools. Many of the times they miss the mark. So they summarize and the machines completely miss what we're talking about. That's never the case with GoCharlie. So I can see how all of these, can make a marketing tool, be really awesome.
So there's more components that you need to take into account to generate, especially long form content. That's what we do as well. And that I think that's the key.
Yeah,
for a good
you sound very exciting about your professional choice. Your journey is quite inspiring, I would say. I mean, if younger people are listening to the podcast, I think that they may come to you for advice. I know that AI is an exciting field. People from different backgrounds want to really get involved with AI. That's why I guess we see so many LinkedIn posts these days. Every single person talks about AI. Some of them are scientists, but some of them are marketers, copywriters. Everyone wants to dive into AI. But after 8 years, what is the most exciting part, and what is the most difficult part? The good and the bad in this choice that you make.
Being a scientist in general, or being like a founder? These are two different things.
Yeah, you're right. I would say for both. I mean, you can talk for both, because you're very correct here. It's being a scientist is completely irrelevant to being a founder and being in the startup game, which comes with its own set of difficulties. Yes.
The challenges are pretty close, actually. If you are a researcher and scientist in this field, for example, 2 years ago, still the research was going fast, very fast. But that period was like 5-8 months. Now, every 2 other days, there's new things. So being a scientist or being a researcher, you have the risk. Many times you work on a topic and you want to publish, for example, that paper, and like a few days before you publish that paper, someone else has published something very similar. So it's like your whole research for months is not goes away, but you cannot use that in practice. So that's a challenge from the researchers. also another challenge that we face now, the last 1 year, that we have these large language models with billion of parameters. It becoming pretty difficult for smaller research labs to follow the big trends, because to train such models, you need like thousands, if not millions, of budget and weeks and access to cloud providers. So the new trend is that you see most of the research in the huge language models is coming from big corporations.
Right.
That's one challenge for the smaller researcher. Still, there are things that don't have to do with like the big language models, and have to do with like tuning or improving a smaller part of the architecture that can do a massive improvements in performance.
Mm-hmm.
So it changes the landscape of depending on where you're doing like your PhD, in what lab you are, what's the budget. It does affect your research a lot nowadays, which is something that wasn't the case like 3 or 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And from a similar perspective, as a founder, so important, you should be a researcher before, if you want to be in an AI company. Why? Because you are familiar with the speed that things change.
Yeah.
If you're not, it's kind of anxious.
Mm-hmm.
That's the case in technology. You need to be perfectly okay with how things change.
Yeah.
And quickly incorporate and understand what does affect you, what doesn't, and incorporate as soon as you can, or decide specific milestones and timelines when you should incorporate new technologies or not.
Yeah, that's very important
That's
what
the
you're saying.
challenge.
Yeah, it's very important, and I would like to highlight it because of the trend that AI is. We see so many new small startups, coming up, and the founders are not technical people. They just, they are inspired by AI. Of course, that's good. But what Despina is saying is very important. I think it's true for any single startup that is about something that is technical in general, not only AI. If you're not, if you want to be the founder, that's fine. But at least find a co-founder that is that knows the technical aspect of things, because even for investors, right, that's the first thing they would ask, is if you're not, you cannot continue to grow.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. And from a similar perspective, is equally important in the founding team to have members from different disciplines, not only tech, but also business people. Finance people is equally important. You cannot build a business only from tech people.
Of course, and everyone has its talent, his talents, and or their talents, and they play their role. So I know the GoCharlie team, and I know how well you work together, and everyone does their own part. And from what I know, I believe it's a very big part of the reason why GoCharlie has success so far. I mean, it's very successful. The team, really, it's all about the team, right?
At the end of the day, yes.
At the end of the day, yeah. So then, yeah. Would you say then the biggest challenge is this also as a founder, that like things change so fast that you can, you need to keep
up fast? Yes,
yeah.
I think, yeah. I mean, when we were in the very first steps of the company, the biggest challenge was that Costas and I, Costas, our CEO, and I, that are the tech people and AI scientists, we were trying to build the best technology, the best AI. But then we quickly understand that building the best technology doesn't necessarily mean yet that you're building a good business. So that was the first challenge and the first lesson. And it was very important when other people also came on the group and help us build that as a company, like bringing more scales into the company.
Yeah, I mean, I see that all the time with technical people. You know, you want perfectionism can kill business pretty much.
Yeah.
You really need someone to stop you, because you can really work on a product forever.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
That was, and I think it still is, a drawback of mine, and I'm trying to work on this every single day.
Yeah. So you are a woman in I would say it's a male-dominated field. From my experience, I mean, I don't have any statistics, but from observing and from the people I know, I believe you are one of, I don't know, perhaps I know 3 more women who are in this space, whereas, I don't know, I know at least 50 men who are in the space.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm not I don't know, perhaps there are different statistics, but from your experience, is this true? And I don't know, does it make things different from you? Difficult perhaps, or challenging? I don't know.
At this stage of my life, no. But being younger, yes. I was reading a report from the World Economic Forum. I don't remember if it was this year or the previous year. And it was saying that only 26% of women are in AI positions, not as founders, generally in AI force. So that's something, but still it is lately. I'm seeing more and more women like being on this field every other year, which is amazing. And I'm saying that because not only to have like our gender in the workforce, but it is important to have different voices in the table. Having diversity and more voices from different cultures, different religions, different genders, wherever, you can build tools that can be applied to the mass.
Exactly.
So it's important to include everyone in your team to have that voice. And that voice is not only in the decisions, but only in the way we process data, clean data, do the whole, like how we build the AI.
Yeah.
It's different things that all of us will notice when we collect data, for example. It is important to have that input to mitigate bias, for example, in the models. On the other hand, like the last years, there's plenty of AI companies that are founded by women. Of course, way less than men, but there are a lot.
Yeah.
I'm very happy to see that. And I want to see more and more.
Yeah, of course. I want to see more and more, and that's very, very interesting that what you're saying. I'm not aware of them, but as what we do on the website of Growth Girls, we create lists of women-founded startups. We should create like a list for AI startups, since that is the case. Of course, I would be very interested to see, are they all about marketing or what they are about. It's going to be very interesting to really boost the visibility for these women founders. So you said something very, very important here, that diverse voices, and not only about gender. I mean, people from all backgrounds can really, when you are handling I don't know, tools that create content, you make sure that diverse people are behind it. Otherwise you will only get one specific demographics view. Now, AI tools have been accused, let's say, that they are biased. I read somewhere that the reason why they are biased is because most of the AI scientists are men, and they have their perspective. I don't know if that's true, if that's from, I mean, you know more on if that is true or not, but I had like a specific example that is used when people want to say that AI is biased. When you when you asked, like ChatGPT, I don't remember which tool, describe a CEO, the answer was like a 35 to 45 male with, I don't know, a suit on, pretty much described like.
Yeah. You would see the similar with doctors. Like doctors are usually male and nurses are usually females.
Yeah. And I guess, I mean, even if you ask someone, if you ask me, like describe, a nurse, most in my mind, I imagine a woman, right? So
Yeah. So that's also like a societal biases.
of course.
So I would say is yes, being a man working on that can be a reason, but might be, and it's a minor reason.
Yeah.
The most important reason why this happens is because AI models are models that are trained on past data.
Mm-hmm.
And for bad or for good, our world up to now included many biases.
Yeah.
I'm not judging that. I'm just saying that these are the data we have up to now. So, and that's the only way to train AI models. So for sure, the training data include biases of any kind. And there's also our biases. Like as you said, we do have in our mind that when we talk about nurses, usually they are female.
Yeah.
Which is statistically that's the truth. Again, up to now, it's not bad or good. That's the statistics. That's societal bias.
Yeah.
The other thing is the data collection bias. So here can be applied that who do the collection? Who does the collection? Is it men? Is it female? Is it like who does that? From which demographics? From like it's the same. Like even if you collect some data from cities or villages, so it's data collection, and then it's the diversity of the development teams in sync with that. So we need to include people from like all demographics, genders, whatever that, and try to find like blind spots that we don't see. So all these people can find blind spots that the others cannot. So that's a perfect team to create data.
For me, it shows that being an AI scientist and being the person who collects the data and feeds the data to the machines comes with a responsibility. Because now, I don't know, I think that AI is the new truth. So you ask something, you go to ChatGPT, you ask something, and you take their answer for granted. I mean, that it's
yes.
People will provide you an answer from an AI machine, like proof that it's real, whereas it's not the case at all, because it never was, right? Even if you find something on Google, people do that all the time. So they Google, they make even medical diagnosis from Google.
Exactly. That is the huge issue on our era, exactly this time, because if you are a researcher, and that's also important why you're a researcher, because you know how to find the best resources. Because like even before all these AI chat machines, it's the web. Who could find anything? But are all sources reliable? No. If you are a researcher, you have been educated and you have experience how to find the good and reliable resource, like potentially a bit better than the average person. And the other thing is that the average person, like I would say, like my parents that do not know about AI, they expect from AI to be like a god, as like whatever it comes out of that is the truth. They don't understand the maths and statistics behind that it only outputs what it has been learned on. One thing to mitigate that is, of course, like in the development process, as we said, to include more people, have better reporting, better evaluation for all the outputs when we build a model. Then we can, once we have a model, there are some techniques tech-wise that we can mitigate those. For example, if you will use what we call adversarial training, we can correct some misinformation. Or I was reading another paper a few days ago that authors essentially find a way to make language models forget bad concepts. So there are techniques for sure. And the other thing is that AI needs to be incrementally improving itself. It's not a fixed model. A fixed model is just an algorithm. Like you're doing this, and this, dot. An AI as an AI must always improve itself with new data. And the other thing that is important, and we also do at GoCharlie, is that the ability to connect your language model with the internet or any other resources that your clients give you. So that way, yes, the content the language model generate is a bit creative, but when you have access to specific sources, that output becomes more factual, which is also important.
Do you, when you know, all of us in new professions, I would call them, different professions, of course, but they are considered new professions. I think we have all experienced being at a family table, I don't know, if a family dinner, and someone of an older age asking, what do you do? And it's one, I'm pretty sure it's very hard to describe for you. And two, have you come across any, I don't know, misconceptions, or are they afraid perhaps of AI? Do you come across?
Yes.
How do you answer this?
So about the question, what do you do? This is like, you're working on, like, you're like, my answer is usually we are building the mathematical models, and no reference to AI or whatever. We're building mathematical models that have the ability to understand the context and the language. And by understanding that, so they can also generate responses to some questions of yours. These are not always right, but we are working to make that better. Just that. And about other fears of them, usually is like, this is coming like too fast. Like, and he's like, even for myself, I was expecting all this burst like in 5 or 10 years from now, not now. So it's the fear, like, will we lose our jobs? That's the biggest one. But my answer to that is, of course, that's a revolution. But I'm seeing that as something as similar with the Industrial Revolution. It, like, of course, some people lose their jobs, but new jobs emerged. So the world became better. The transition was a bit bad.
For some people.
So I do agree with that point. The transition for some professions is going to be kind of tricky. But if you wait like 5, 6, 7, 8 years, people would just have to, the best skill is the skill to learn new things. And I think that's the skill you need for any job. So if you have this mentality, you'll always have a job. You just change the jobs you're seeking for.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you. And it may sound cynical, but we really cannot stop progress.
Yeah. And it's always for the good. Like, do you remember, for example, before the Industrial Revolution, like our grandparents, our parents, we didn't have like washing machines.
Exactly.
Our life is so much easier nowadays that like the new generation, we might don't even think of that. But if we speak with our like grandparents, like they spend hours and hours doing stuff that now we don't even care. A machine does that.
Exactly. And because you use the example of washing machines, I'm pretty sure that, you know, there were people that their profession was actually to wash clothes. And of course, these people went out of business.
Yeah.
But we got the professional cleaners then that, you know, they do the more advanced cleaning. If you want to clean your mattress, for example. So in the end, it generates other business opportunities, other jobs, exactly like you said. So it's pretty much progress. Of course, you know, with progress, it has the rough parts, but I think that we as a society, we will take care of it. We're wiser now. The humanity is wiser.
Exactly.
Yeah, it leaves no one behind. So
and also, like, aside from that, it's important to note that we're discussing all these things for the West, but the whole world is not just the West.
Yeah.
All these things will give great opportunities to other countries that don't have access to the things that we had. So technology, I think, will bring great advancement to other countries that need that more than we do.
And you know, you use the word revolution. For me, it's exactly that. And me personally, I'm very excited about it. I think that before AI has been around for years, of course, but now it's gotten very, very big. I think that we were all collectively in limbo, like waiting for something big to happen. And I remember myself some 3-4 years back discussing with other people and saying, what is next? I feel like that there's nothing that will come next. We invented like electricity. The internet was, you know, now it's in every home. What is next? Life is so boring, you know. And now this has filled us with optimism, because I think with AI, the solution to the biggest problems in humanity will come. The answer to environmental crisis. I don't know. It will cure, in the end. It will cure illnesses that you know, the human brain cannot work as fast.
Exactly. And we see that, which is great, especially in the biomedicine domain.
Yeah. So just we are approaching the end of our very interesting conversation today. I would like to give you the opportunity just to talk about GoCharlie a little bit. Like I said in the beginning, I'm using it every day. So talking about biased, I'm a bit biased about it. You know, I like it. I've seen it through the last year. I've seen it grow. So I'm a witness to its success. You as a founder, tell us a bit about why GoCharlie is different, and what is your view? What are the next steps? What is the big vision for GoCharlie?
Awesome. Okay, so also as a founder, I'm also a bit biased, but
of course,
that's okay. But I'm biased because I know how we work behind that. And we're doing actual research. And we're not only trying to build a product that solves like marketing copywriting, which is, again, that's great for all the companies that are doing that. But we're trying to build AI models ourselves. We don't use models that others use. So that gives us the opportunity to incorporate the latest research that can like mitigate biases, that can be faster, that can be precisely built for marketing, which is important. It's totally different to use a general scope model with like a billion of parameters. That means like more money for you, more so the users should pay more because you pay more, and it's generic. So what we build is marketing specific, and we incorporate all latest research. That gives a great advantage compared to our competitors, because we're moving fast. We do have the complete control of what we are doing. And as our customers, and like if you see the Facebook community we have, that's very active. And for me, it's so inspiring. That was the very first time in my life I had this feeling, like talking with customers and saying how much you help them. And so that drives you to continue building more and more and more and more and improve that.
Yeah, for anyone who is listening, Despina mentioned the Facebook group, the Facebook community. It's the first time that I've seen such a supportive. I mean, we're talking about a community here, right? It's not like the customers or the users. So it's really a community. It's the first time that I've seen such support and continuous feedback from the users. The Facebook group is very active, is one of the most active groups I am in, which is, again, it's not ordinary. So
we're very proud of that. That was a decision we all take as founders, that we want to build something unique, but for our users. So it's important to hear them and be fast in how you implement things that are useful for their workflows.
So you should be proud. I mean,
So, and the vision is to be an AI tech company first, and then marketing specific. Marketing is the first domain we start with. That's a huge market. There are huge pain points. As we said, the community, which is on marketing, supports us a lot. So, but the technology we're building can like later on be applied to other domains as well. But being the best in one field and like on our end, learn all the challenges. How can you become the best in a specific vertical, marketing now? That gives us a great opportunity to serve the best for the marketers, but also gives us the knowledge to continue building our vision. And of course, like everything is automated. So like in a month from now, you will see a totally different platform, more minimalistic, more functionalities, easier to be used from anyone. So a lot of changes are coming.
I'm very excited to see them. So for anyone who is a marketer out there, I will tell you what GoCharlie has done for our job, for our agency, and for our processes. It has really minimized a lot of, the time that we are giving to some tasks. Our copywriters are using it on a daily basis. Many of the features are extremely useful. One of the most important ones I already mentioned, you can actually repurpose your content, which, for any digital marketer out there, they know how important it is, because creating like valuable piece of content takes a lot of time. If you can create this once and repurpose it in different formats, that's very, very useful, important. It can do wonders for your SEO. It can do wonders for your social media, for pretty much everything. So GoCharlie is amazing in this aspect. It will create blog posts that are very actually, they pass, there are tools that you pass them and they can recognize if they are created by ChatGPT or whatever else. GoCharlie content always passes us human-like content. Of course, it's how you feed the information, of course. We need to create better handlers of AI, but I think we're there. So go to GoCharlie.ai and try it. And of course, you can also contact Despina to ask her questions if you want. I will put the link to her LinkedIn profile. I will put contact information. So yeah, that's pretty much the end of our conversation. Thank you very much, Despina, for being here and joining the Growth Girl series. I think that, we could talk for hours and hours about AI. It's what I really love is that you are as an AI scientist, a very good one. You are the person who creates this revolution. You are one of the people building what we are all, in the audience, and we are seeing it progress and admiring what is, all the benefits we're seeing as a society. So for me, it was really an honor having you here and having this conversation with you. Thank you so much, and I'm very excited to see what's next for GoCharlie and yourself. Of course.
Thank you. I feel a lot. The pleasure was all mine, and I'm here for anyone to ask anything they want.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Bye.